Hi, everybody. I'm Colin Lamb, aka the Tone Wizard, and let me tell you something. I might be getting into Phish here. That might actually be happening. So yeah, this is episode 2 of I'm trying to get into Phish, and like I say, I may actually be getting into Phish. Before I start this video, I just want to thank some new subscribers to the channel: Ryan Nelson Creations, Chard Cheese, and Don Polson. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it. Now, moving on here, trying to get into Phish. So I put up a video last Wednesday because I have been trying to get into Phish. It's a band that a lot of my friends like, and there's a lot of cross-pollination with some other groups that I'm into, like the Grateful Dead and Ween, of course. I do a show all about Ween called Ween Talk on the channel. Check that out if you feel like it. But in any event, I put up a short video last week about trying to get into the band Phish, and there was a lot of response in the comments, and some people had some really insightful stuff to say. Some people had some funny stuff to say, and some people had some negative stuff to say. So I thought that I would bring up some of the comments from the first video and discuss them because I did enjoy them. And so I think we'll start with the positive comments that we got, the helpful comments, because that's what kind of day it is. I've been working in the rain for 3 days, in the pissing rain. I got cedar trimmings in my eyes, and I'm ready to make a video. So thank you for watching. So, comment that I received from Jack Ciro, I think it's Ciro, but I'll read it out. I'm a deadhead who got into Phish in the late 1980s. What drew me to them was their intense, focused energy, complex compositions, and sense of humor. As a young head, it was fun to see a band that met my energy level. Back then, fans were like college art school geeks and young hippies. They also danced their asses off. It was just stupid fun. That began to change as they became more popular. By 1992, the fans began looking more like college men's fraternity. A whole bunch of baseball caps and guys packed together, swaying in increasingly lethargic music. You get the rest. Anyways, he recommended that I watch a video, a set from Maine on Amy Skelton's farm, and I did check that out, and it was really cool. I think I watched, I put it on while I was cleaning my kitchen, actually, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you for that. But just to touch on what Jack had said, was that he was kind of a deadhead, a younger deadhead who got into Phish because they were newer on the scene. They had a lot more energy, and I definitely, with that in mind, I went and checked out some of the earlier stuff, and it was definitely energetic and definitely fun. So thank you very much, Jack, for that comment. Now let's move on here. Nick, who's always chiming in over on the Ween Show, and who was on the Ween Show, he's also big into Phish from what I understand, and he had actually a much larger comment that he said that I'm not going to read out because your time is just as valuable as mine, if not exceedingly more valuable. But Nick says, I can't see 3 nights of Phish in a row anymore. I can see 3 nights of Ween anytime, and that's okay because I'm not a dirty hippie. And although not particularly insightful in this comment, it is probably the best comment after this comment. Nick recommended that I purchase what is called a Phish companion, and I looked for that on Amazon here in Canada. The cheapest one I found was a paperback, and it was like $66, but I don't think it was the actual one. And I'd said, come on, man, I'm not going to pay $66. And Nick said, he called me a trustafarian. And I'll be honest with you, this is how cool I am. I actually had to look up what that meant. I kind of got from the words smushed together what it might mean, and he kind of implied that I'm pillaging some cultural outpost for enlightenment or something like that. And let me tell you, Nick, that's funny. I appreciate it. You know what? If I am a trustafarian, that's the coolest I've ever been, guaranteed. But thank you for those comments. Over on Instagram, Dr. Scorpion from the Learn to Ween channel also gave me some really good advice about shows, and he sent me a video to a song called Fluffhead, and I really like that song. And it was a shot that was actually just that was just shot with a handy cam or something like that, and it was a really good fucking video. So I have liked everything I have seen so far, but let's move into the negative comments here, which weren't as Nick's stuff here is funny too, but they weren't as the negative stuff wasn't productively critical. It was just basically like this. So I find Phish, I think, to be, we'll use syntax there to fill in the blank. I find Phish to be one of the most boring bands ever. Complete snoozers through and through. Their funk is so white. Their rock is so soft. Their jams are not sweet. I should read this in a more aggressive tone. I find Phish to be one of the most boring bands ever. Complete snoozers through and through. Their funk is so white. Their rock is so soft. And their jams are not sweet enough. This is me tasting one of their jam, or him tasting. It's not sweet enough. Throwing the bonbon back into Phish's face. Sweeten up those jams. Some guy named Wilson. And and he kind of critiqued, I think, what some other people have said. Some guy named Wilson and a helping friendly book. Look, come on. I don't know what that means, actually. If you know what that means, Jimmy, by the way, I welcome any and all opinions on this channel. Even if you've got a problem with something I've said, let me know, too, because I welcome all opinions on here. But maybe if you're, this is actually funny because I touched in on when I did like a preliminary search of Phish, the nitrous thing kept coming off, people huffing balloons or whatever. Maybe if your lips are nearly blue from nitrous, you could be stimulated by them. But there are a zillion other acts to spend your valuable life listening to that bring so much better than these jokers. Thank you for the comment. So he's not a Phish fan, obviously. And then there was another comment on the negative side from Mark Putt. Why would anyone do this to their ears? They are awfully sorry. Don't mean to offend, just an opinion. Again, an opinion is valid. I mean, that's basically what the internet has become, is a crossfire garbage cane of opinions. So, hey, I'll take that in mind. Now, on that note, with the jams not being sweet enough, and one of the worries that I had about getting into Phish would that it would just be a deedle like a solo fest. And when I was thinking about that, a story came to mind, or something that a friend of mine, Connie McGinty, once told me after I returned from a trip to his native homeland, Ireland. I went there to Galway and Donegal, and I remember talking to him after and being like, hey man, you must love being able to go all those bars and hear that music all the time, like anytime you want. And he just kind of looked at me flatly and said, hey man, there's only so much deedle dee that a man can take. And on that note, that's kind of one of the fears I had about getting into Phish. But what I will say is, what I've seen is that the jams are pretty well structured. There's emotionally, sort of tonally, and the interplay between the instruments. There's clearly defined sections in the jam, which is kind of one of the reasons why I don't listen to a lot of Live Dead, because for whatever reason, they kind of tend to trail off kind of infinitely. And I do found that some of the better Phish stuff that I've seen has had very clearly defined jam sections. So in any event, thank you for that opinion for sure. But yeah, thank you for everybody for commenting on that. I appreciate the advice. And like I say, my buddy Dr. Scorpion over on the Learn to Wean channel, he chimed in, and he actually told me, he kind of gave me like a written breakdown of the kind of existence of Phish up until my point of coming in some 30 whatever it is years later. But he said that there was a dark period of Phish. I think he said like 2001 to 2003 or something like that. And incidentally enough, I typed in Phish dark period in Google, and a video of Trey speaking at a drug court employee like a conference for people who work in the drug court. And I didn't even know what the drug court was, so that was fascinating. But he spoke there, so that was interesting to see that there's a whole, a big chasm there where they weren't playing and where they were heavily addicted to drugs. It's not good to see, but it's interesting, and I'm looking forward to learning more about that. And if you have anything to say about that, please let me know. So what I've watched so far in trying to get into Phish is I did check out the 91 Amy's Farm footage that Jack Zero recommended. I really liked it. And then I went on Spotify and I just went back to their earliest album, and I had a listen to the White Tape album, which I found to be really, really enjoyable, actually. It was kind of like some early Ween stuff where they were taking swings and there were some misses and they were recording and putting out kind of whatever they had. That was kind of the vibe that I got off of it anyways. But one thing that I listened to, I kind of stumbled upon by myself, was the 1999 recording from Boise State University. I put that on, and I think it was Chalk Dust something or other that came on, and it really good start to that set. And then the song Waste came on, and I think that's a fucking great song. I really like it. So yeah, I think I'm probably only going to do 5 episodes, and then I'll decide whether I'm in or not. But so far I'm dipping towards in. So please let me know what you think of that in the comments. And I'm hoping to have some guests on to further sway me in the direction of getting into it. Or if you're a person who out there who hates Phish and you'd like to do an episode with me, a Zoom recorded episode where you convince me not to get into Phish, I'm into that too. I've got Little all to do right now but work, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Anyways, I just want to close this episode by saying, what the fuck? What the actual fuck is an Humphreys McGee?